finished it, there is a thing called WasteNot, which is the waste exchange that came out of the Duck River, the now Streamline Project, and it's online and it works reasonably well. And so I was just going to give an outline of how it came about, or what's behind it essentially, and also what we want to try to do to move it forward, because one of the critical findings of the literature review component of the project was that there's a lot of tools out there like this, and they sit there that and don't get much use, as I say, gathering e-dust. And that's a whole range of factors contributed to that sort of, lack of momentum or interest or whatever it might be. But yeah, there are a lot of factors involved, but essentially there has to be a driving force behind it. You can't just make a web tool and put it there and hope businesses or people will use it. It has to have some amount of promotion, it has to have some amount of administration and moderation and engagement. So, which was central to the development of the tool and hopefully also the ongoing life of the tool. So, just about ISF, who we are. The Institute for Sustainable Futures is part of UTS, and our mission is to create change towards sustainable futures. And so we undertake research-based projects primarily with government, industry and the community. We also do research training and involved in public debate and media presence and that kind of thing. And basically we're engaged by Wendy and Amanda to do this project. And essentially it was to, I guess, help build that community practice around resource recovery to start with, and have a community focus in that sense, but also to ultimately improve resource recovery rates. And I guess one of the key deliverables was a tool, but the nature of that tool was undefined. And that tool could have been just like an Excel spreadsheet or something that, say, a project officer took around with them to help broker exchanges between businesses, waste exchanges, or it could have been what it has become, an online tool. And I guess the reason it became an online tool was because we recognised that this grant had a limited lifespan. The grant money would run out, and then what would happen? There'd be no vehicle for this tool as such, so it had to be something that was online and could be adopted by the councils or other organisations. And it was something, it was developed so it's very simple, so that it can be reasonably self-sustaining. It still needs moderation. It would help to have brokerage behind it, but ultimately it can operate a bit like a wiki, kind of, or any kind of online database that can be managed by users as opposed to just a central body. So that's just a screenshot of it, of the search, and basically the feedback from businesses is you want minimal navigation, simplicity, and I guess a few other features, but the design of this tool really came about through a strong business consultation process. So just in terms of what the concept is, it's peer-to-peer or business-to-business exchange of waste and resources, but it also facilitates waste service providers identifying potential clients or businesses finding waste service providers. Because it was pretty clear that, a lot of waste, businesses weren't even recycling, let alone handing over, industrial bulk containers to another neighbouring business. That kind of exchange was quite complex and requires a lot of ongoing and difficult negotiations at times. So, at least the tool should provide a mechanism for businesses to find basic resource recovery, recycling services. And so in that sense it operates in that middle range of the waste hierarchy, and obviously it targets C&I and C&D waste streams, which make up 3/4 of the waste in New South Wales. So, as Wendy mentioned, it came from an Environmental Trust grant, and it was a collaboration with input from DECW here and there. Primarily it was built on stakeholder consultation, particularly with businesses, after an initial round where we involved the LGSA, and other institutional stakeholders like peak business bodies or industry bodies, and government representatives from government at state and local level. And then obviously it was tailored to the local area as much as we could, but as I say, it became an online tool, so it's now universally applicable. It's not necessarily only going to work for Duck River. And the way we went about it was we never had a predetermined outcome for the tool, so it could have been that kind of brokering tool where someone goes out with the thing with them to calculate, well, what would your savings be and how could you go about this exchange? Or it could be what it's become. And it was designed to be flexible, work for businesses and councils, and find its own niche within this market of industrial ecology where there's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of activity, and we didn't want to replicate what someone else was doing, and you know, yeah. So we had these workshops with businesses after the institutional stakeholder workshop to set the scene, and we proposed a concept to get feedback on. We got, you know, this was just a selection of a very long list of feedback, the kinds of things they wanted, and what we've developed ticks a lot of those off, but there's just, obviously with a finite budget you can only go so far, so the pilot demonstrates some of these key things, such as mapping, things to make it appear obvious that it is a live tool, like that it's not just sitting there being unused. There's a few things in there to indicate that it is being used, if it is being used, that is. And a key feature was email alerts or notifications, so that businesses, who we all know are time poor, can use it once, go away and forget about it, and be told through email that what they're after is actually something they're after has come online. In the process, we also did some case studies, which I won't go into too much, but it was critical to the project that we got a reality check, I guess, on how feasible this kind of thing was, and also inform the kinds of things that this tool can facilitate or enable. So we talked to a number of businesses, and in the end, we quantified the benefits associated with resource recovery and waste exchange, including some opportunities that were identified through the project, some that were in the process of happening, and some that had already been embarked upon. Just to give a sense of, well, you know, this is what can happen amongst different. So we talked to, this is 3 businesses, all of varying sizes and very different operations. But what I'll just quickly do is show what the tool can do, I guess, because we do have an internet connection. I'll try not to. It's fairly simple, but I could spend a while doing it. But there's a range of things you can do. You can search for waste resources and services, waste recovery services. You can map all the results. You can sign to register your waste or to register your waste service. You can sign in, and then you can list whatever you want. And you can edit your details and wastes at any time, and then you can subscribe to receive email notifications of new wastes that other businesses have listed or new waste services that have been listed. Oops, so I'll just quickly go to it. Oh.